What's up, Guardians, and welcome back, Warlocks. I'm Profane, and thank you as always for checking out the video. As we continue our journey through the best builds and loadouts in Destiny, we stop to take a look at a Prismatic build that's about to get a massive increase to its overall performance and damage output, and will surely become one of the most dominating buddy builds that Warlocks will have the option of running in Ash and Iron. When Ash and Iron drops, Warlock buddies will be recoded, and their damage will now be tied into your grenade stat, which means that a 200 grenade stat would provide any Warlock buddy with a 65% bonus in damage, and that includes any Arc Soul, Hellion, Ionic Sentry, Bleak Watcher, and even the Child of Old Gods buddy whenever using the Void subclass. This is going to have a big impact on a lot of current buddy builds. The Eunoia, or whatever it's called, will become a much stronger exotic option. Storm Collars are going to be even more powerful, and the Rhymecoat Raiment will really excel. I think Prismatic Warlocks are going to benefit the most with these changes, since there's the option of having both Hellion and Bleak Watcher turrets active at the same time, and by building around the Getaway Artist, we would be able to maintain the minimum of 3 buddies at all times. This exotic provides the dynamic duo intrinsic trait, which lets us consume an arc grenade, and by doing so, we will create an arc buddy that will follow us around for 20 seconds. And by equipping the Bleak Watcher and Hellion aspects, we'd give ourselves an army of autonomous turrets. In the process of consuming our grenade, we will become amplified, which means our Arc Soul will have an increased rate of fire, and that means more damage. When Amplified is active, we will have a 15% bonus in damage resistance, and because we have the added benefits of the Shield Crush artifact mod, we'll gain a 25% bonus in grenade damage and regeneration, increasing the damage of our Arc Soul, Hellion, and Bleak Watcher turrets, and that bonus will stack alongside the bonus that we'll get from our character stats. Arc Souls and Bleak Watcher damage and regeneration will be based on our grenade stat, so once our grenade stat is at 100, we will gain a 190% bonus to any source of grenade regen, so that would improve the performance of armor mods like Innervation and weapon traits like Demolitionist. But when it comes to our Hellion turret, that gets activated by our class ability. Its damage might still be governed by our grenade stat, but its regeneration revolves around our class stat, so if at all possible, we would like to get this to at least 100 points. Extending it any further would just provide us with an overshield whenever we activate our class ability, which can still be beneficial, but we are using Phoenix Dive, which will grant us and nearby allies with Cure whenever it's activated. Empowering Rifts will now provide bonus grenade energy. They already provide a 20% bonus in outgoing damage, so there's going to be a lot of benefits in running an Empowering Rift, especially since it will increase the damage of our buddies. But if you are struggling with survival, you might want to stick with Healing Rifts and Phoenix Dive. As our Arc Soul damages enemies, it's going to regenerate 5% bonus grenade energy, allowing us to continuously proc our Bleak Watcher and Arc Soul, but that's a benefit that only applies when Devour is not active. If we are using Hellion and the Bleak Watcher as our aspects, then the only way that we could trigger Devour is through the use of the Buried Bloodline exotic sidearm. This would trigger Devour after landing consecutive final blows, and once Devour is active, we would gain bonus health and grenade energy, but that would cancel out the bonus grenade energy that the Getaway Artist provides. And we actually have a few other exotics in mind, which we'll talk about here soon, that will have much stronger synergy with our buddy system. Bleak Watcher turrets are not a good source of damage, but they do apply continuous stacks of slow, causing enemies to freeze and shatter, and because we are using the Facet of Courage, we will give our Arc Soul and Hellions a 10% bonus in damage whenever they're used against slowed and frozen enemies. This bonus will get triggered when enemies are severed, unraveled, and suspended, so we could use strand weapons with Slice or Tear to help maintain that bonus, but we could also use Arcane Needles as our melee option. And if we incorporated strand weapons with Threadlings, we'd be able to expand on our autonomous army. When it comes to the rest of our fragments, we're really focused towards ability uptime, so we have Facet of Balance, which will provide 10% bonus grenade energy as we defeat multiple enemies with darkness-based damage, and will receive 10% bonus melee energy whenever using light-based damage. We've also got Facet of Awakening, which is going to generate elemental pickups, and based on our setup, we would create Tangles, Fire Sprites, Ionic Traces, and Stasis Shards, with Fire Sprites providing 12.5% bonus grenade energy, Stasis Shards providing 10% bonus melee energy, and Ionic Traces providing 15% energy to all 3 of our abilities. And then we have Facet of Hope, which will increase the regeneration rate of our class energy whenever we have an elemental buff active. This will start as a 40% increase when one buff is active, but it's going to grow to 60% whenever we have 2. So between our exotic armor, our aspects, and fragments, we should have all 3 of our abilities recharging at a rapid rate, allowing us to sustain all 3 of our buddies. We mentioned before that we have a few exotics at mind that would go great with this build, and that includes the Finality's Augur and the No Time to Explain. The No Time to Explain is a kinetic pulse rifle which creates its own sentient buddy, and that's created after landing consecutive shots, and that would provide us with 4 buddies in total. Pulse rifles get the nod towards barrier duties right now, so that makes this a great option for when those champions are in the mix. This kinetic buddy will not receive bonus damage because of an increased grenade stat, but by increasing our weapon stat, we would be able to increase its damage to as much as 15%. But then we have Finality's Augur, which creates a stationary solar turret, and that's going to strike multiple enemies, dealing bonus damage to those that are marked. And this has the added benefit of bait and switch, making it a great option to use as you rotate through your primary and secondary weapons. When it comes to those companion weapons, I would recommend those that come with Demolitionist, because as we stated before, this will increase the regeneration of your grenade, while Strategist would increase the uptime of our class ability. But if you are feeling the survival struggle, then I would recommend using solar weapons with Heal Clip. Since we are using a variety of elements in this build, you would find a lot of success out of weapons with Elemental Honing, as this would provide as much as a 35% bonus in weapon damage. When it comes to armor, we've already talked about character stats, but there's a few armor mods and armor sets that you should consider using with this build. Ashes to Assets will be an important helmet mod to equip, as this will provide bonus super energy as we defeat enemies with our grenade ability. If you are coming in short with your grenade stat, then I would recommend running grenade font mods, that way you'd gain between 20 and 50 extra points of grenade stats. Since we don't have Devour, we'll need to find alternate sources of health regen, and that's where the Recuperation Boots mod can really come in handy. And when it comes to armor sets, there's 2 standouts, and that is the Tech Sec armor whenever using the No Time to Explain, and the new Solstice armor under any other circumstance. The Tech Sec armor will give the No Time to Explain bonus damage against enemy shields, and it'll create concussive blast when those shields are destroyed. But with the Solstice armor set, we would receive 35 points of health every time we defeat an enemy with a solar weapon or ability. But to maximize on those benefits, we would need to run a few solar weapons, Helion buddies, and preferably the Finality's Augur. And with that, you have yourself an incredibly powerful buddy build, and a couple of different ways to run it. So if you're in the process of getting prepared for Ash and Iron, you're going to want to get this build set up and ready. And if you need help doing so, be sure to check out my Mobalytics and dim links, which are down below. That's going to wrap things up for today's build video, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's exotic, and what builds you'll be using in Ash and Iron. Let us know down in the comments below. Thank you as always for checking out the video. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then be sure to hit that like button below, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated, and both really do help support the channel, as does being a member, so a big shout out and thank you to all of our channel members. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.